Unexpected encounter. The Terran Confederation had come a long way since humanity's first steps into the vast expanse of space. What began as a handful of scattered colonies had grown into a thriving interstellar civilization, united in its pursuit of exploration and discovery. At the forefront of these efforts was the TCS Endeavour, a state-of-the-art research vessel captained by the intrepid Aria Hawkins. Aria had always dreamed of venturing into the unknown reaches of the galaxy, and her dedication and skills had earned her the command of the Endeavour at a relatively young age. Her crew, a diverse mix of scientists, engineers, and security personnel, shared her passion for pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. As the Endeavour charted a course through an unexplored region of space, Aria couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and trepidation. The possibilities for discovery were endless, but so too were the potential dangers lurking in the void. Suddenly, the ship's sensors lit up with an unfamiliar energy signature. "Captain, we're picking up an unknown vessel on the scanners," reported the tactical officer, Lieutenant Marcus Reeves. Aria leaned forward in her chair, her brow furrowed. "Can we get a visual?" The view screen flickered to life, revealing a sleek alien craft unlike anything the crew had encountered before. Its hull was a shimmering iridescent black, and strange, pulsing energy emanated from its core. "Hail them," Aria ordered, hoping to establish peaceful contact with the unknown species. The communications officer, Ensign Linasato, sent out a greeting in multiple languages and across various frequencies. Minutes ticked by with no response. Just as Aria was about to order another attempt, the alien ship suddenly sprang to life. In a flash of blinding light, a beam of energy lanced out from the vessel, striking the Endeavour's shields and sending shudders through the hull. "Shields down to 60%. Reeves shouted over the blaring alarms. "They're preparing to fire again." Aria gripped the armrests of her chair, her mind racing. "Evasive maneuvers. Get us out of here." The helmsman, Lieutenant Commander Kai Nakamura, deftly maneuvered the Endeavour out of the path of another energy beam, but the alien ship matched their movements with uncanny precision. "Captain, we can't outrun them," Nakamura said through gritted teeth. "Their technology is far more advanced than ours." Aria knew they had only one option. "Prepare to jump to FTL on my mark. We need to get back to Earth and warn the Confederation." As the crew readied the ship for the jump, another volley of energy beams slammed into the Endeavour's weakening shields. Sparks flew from overloaded consoles, and the acrid smell of burnt circuitry filled the bridge. "Jump," Aria commanded, and the Endeavour leaped into the safety of faster-than-light travel, leaving the hostile alien ship behind. In the brief respite provided by the jump, Aria surveyed the damage to her ship and crew. They had escaped, but only just. The implications of this encounter weighed heavily on her mind. Humanity had just had its first brush with an advanced, aggressive alien species, and the galaxy suddenly seemed a far more dangerous place. As the Endeavour limped back to Earth, Aria knew that everything had changed. The Terran Confederation would need to prepare for the threat that loomed on the horizon, and she had a feeling that her crew would be at the forefront of the coming storm. Mounting tensions, news of the Endeavour's encounter with the hostile alien species, now known as the Zorgans, sent shockwaves through the Terran Confederation. Earth's leaders convened an emergency meeting to discuss the implications of this discovery and the necessary steps to protect humanity's interests. Admiral Elara Weston, the head of the Terran Defense Force, addressed the assembled officials. "The Zorgans' unprovoked attack on the Endeavour makes it clear that they pose a significant threat to our security," she said, her voice firm and resolute. "We must take immediate action to bolster our defenses and seek out potential allies in the galactic community." As the discussion unfolded, Captain Aria Hawkins found herself at the center of attention. Her first-hand experience with the Zorgans made her insights invaluable, and she was soon tasked with leading a diplomatic mission to forge alliances with other spacefaring species. "Captain Hawkins, your bravery and quick thinking saved your crew and brought us this vital information," Admiral Weston said. fixing Area with a steely gaze. "Now we need you to use those same skills to secure the support of potential allies. The fate of the Confederation may depend on your success." Area accepted the mission with a mix of determination and trepidation. As she and her crew prepared the Endeavor for the journey, tensions continued to mount throughout the Confederation. Reports of Zorgan ships skirting the edges of Terran space poured in, each sighting ratcheting up the sense of impending conflict. The Confederation's military forces were placed on high alert, and patrols were increased along the borders. Area's diplomatic mission took her to the far reaches of known space, where she encountered a variety of alien species, each with its own unique culture and interests. Some, like the technologically advanced Karani, were eager to forge an alliance with the Terrans, seeing the Zorgans as a mutual threat. Others, such as the isolationist Valdari, remained wary of entangling themselves in a potential war. As Area navigated the delicate landscape of interstellar diplomacy, she couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. Every day spent negotiating was another day for the Zorgans to prepare for their next move. Back on Earth, the Confederation scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to develop new technologies to counter the Zorgan threat. Advances in weapon systems, shielding, and propulsion were made at a breakneck pace, fueled by a sense of urgency and the knowledge that failure could mean the end of human civilization. Despite the progress being made, Area knew that the Confederation was still at a disadvantage. The Zorgans' technology was far more advanced, and their aggressive nature suggested a long history of conquest and expansion. As she wrapped up her diplomatic mission with mixed results, Area couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease. The Confederation had gained some valuable allies, but would it be enough to stand against the might of the Zorgan war machine? With tensions reaching a breaking point and the specter of war looming on the horizon, Area knew that the coming days would test the resolve and ingenuity of the Terran Confederation like never before. As she set a course back to Earth, she steeled herself for the challenges ahead, knowing that the fate of humanity rested on the shoulders of those willing to fight for its survival. Ingenuity and resilience. As the Terran Confederation braced for the impending Zorgan threat, its greatest minds worked tirelessly to level the playing field. Scientists and engineers from across the Confederation pooled their knowledge and resources to develop cutting-edge technologies that could give humanity a fighting chance against the technologically superior Zorgans. Dr. Liam Connors, the Confederation's foremost expert on advanced weaponry, led a team of brilliant researchers at the Hyperion Institute. Their goal was to create a weapon system that could penetrate the Zorgans' formidable defenses and turn the tide of the coming war. "We've made a breakthrough," Dr. Connors announced to his team, his eyes gleaming with excitement. By combining focused plasma technology with a new type of phase-modulated energy, we've created a prototype weapon that can bypass the Zorgan shields and deliver a devastating blow. The prototype, dubbed the Excalibur, was a testament to human ingenuity and determination. Its sleek, angular design belied the immense power contained within, and the Confederation's leadership knew that it could be a game-changer in the fight against the Zorgans. Captain Area Hawkins and her crew were chosen to test the Excalibur on a covert mission deep in Zorgan-controlled space. The objective was to gather critical intelligence on the enemy's movements and capabilities while putting the new weapon through its paces. As the Endeavor slipped silently through the void, Area couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in her crew and the Confederation they served. Despite the odds stacked against them, they were determined to fight for humanity's future. The mission took a turn for the worse when the Endeavor stumbled upon a Zorgan fleet far larger than expected. The alien ships quickly detected the human vessel and moved to intercept, their weapons charging with an ominous glow. "We're outgunned and outmatched," Lieutenant Reeves said, his voice tight with tension. "Orders, Captain." Area's mind raced as she assessed the situation. Retreat was not an option, as the Zorgans would undoubtedly pursue them and risk exposing the Confederation's plans. Fighting head-on would be a certain death sentence. "We stick to the mission," Area said, her voice steady despite the mounting pressure. We need to find a way to use the Excalibur to our advantage. The crew sprang into action, their training and expertise guiding them through the chaos. Ensign Sato devised a plan to use the Endeavor's communication systems to jam the Zorgon sensors, while Lieutenant Commander Nakamura plotted a daring course through the enemy fleet. As the Endeavor wove through the Zorgon ships, the Excalibur proved its worth. The prototype weapon sliced through the alien shields as if they were paper, allowing the human ship to strike at critical systems and sow confusion among the enemy ranks. The Zorgons, caught off guard by the Endeavor's unconventional tactics and the devastating effectiveness of the Excalibur, began to falter. Area seized the opportunity and ordered a focused assault on the fleet's command ship. In a daring maneuver, the Endeavor slipped past the command ship's defenses and unleashed the full power of the Excalibur. The alien vessel shuddered and cracked under the onslaught, its hull breached and its systems failing. With the Zorgon fleet in disarray, Area gave the order to retreat. The Endeavor limped away from the battlefield, battered but victorious, its crew exhausted but elated. The success of the mission proved that human ingenuity and resilience could indeed match the Zorgon's technological might. As the Endeavor made its way back to Confederation space, Area knew that the real battle was just beginning. The prototype Excalibur was a glimmer of hope, but turning the tide of the war would require the united effort of all humanity. Turning the tide. News of the Endeavor's successful mission and the effectiveness of the Excalibur weapon spread like wildfire through the Terran Confederation. The victory, hard-fought and well-earned, bolstered the spirits of the human forces and gave them a renewed sense of purpose. Admiral Weston wasted no time in capitalizing on the momentum generated by Area and her crew. She rallied the Confederation's allies, urging them to join forces and stand united against the Zorgon threat. The time has come for us to take the fight to the enemy, Admiral Weston declared in a rousing speech broadcast across the Confederation. With the Excalibur in our arsenal and the strength of our alliances, we have the power to turn the tide of this war and secure a future for all our peoples. As the Confederation and its allies prepared for a decisive battle, the Endeavor underwent extensive upgrades to integrate the Excalibur weapon into its systems fully. Dr. Connors and his team worked around the clock to refine the prototype and ensure its reliability in the heat of battle. Area found herself at the center of a flurry of strategic planning and coordination. Her experience with the Zorgons and her success in wielding the Excalibur made her a key figure in the upcoming offensive. "We'll need to strike hard and fast," Area advised during a War Council meeting. "The Zorgons will be expecting us, but they won't be prepared for the full might of our combined forces and the power of the Excalibur." The Allied fleet assembled at a staging point near the border of Zorgon-controlled space. Ships of various sizes and designs, each representing a different species and culture, formed a unified front against the common enemy. As the fleet moved into position, Area couldn't help but feel a sense of awe at the sight of so many disparate races coming together for a shared cause. It was a testament to the power of cooperation and the indomitable spirit of those who refused to submit to tyranny. The battle erupted in a blaze of energy weapons and explosions as the Allied fleet clashed with the Zorgon forces. The Excalibur proved its worth once again, carving through the enemy ships with devastating precision. Area and her crew worked in perfect unison, their skills honed by countless hours of training and the bonds of trust forged in the crucible of combat. The Endeavor danced through the chaos, its weapons striking true and its shields holding firm against the Zorgon's relentless assault. As the battle raged on, the Terran Confederation's tactical prowess and the ingenuity of its allies began to take their toll on the Zorgon fleet. The enemy's formations crumbled under the onslaught, their ships falling one by one to the combined might of the Allied forces. In a daring maneuver, Area led a strike team deep into the heart of the Zorgon fleet, targeting their command ship with the Excalibur. The weapon's phase-modulated energy tore through the vessel's defenses, exposing its vulnerable core. With a final, devastating salvo, the Endeavor crippled the Zorgon command ship, sending it spiraling out of control. The loss of their leadership threw the enemy fleet into disarray, and the Allied forces pressed their advantage. As the battle drew to a close, the Allied fleet emerged victorious, the remnants of the Zorgan forces retreating in disorganized clusters. The cost had been high, with many ships lost and lives sacrificed, but the Terran Confederation and its allies had stood firm and proven their mettle. The victory marked a turning point in the war, a crucial step towards ending the Zorgan threat once and for all. As Aria looked out upon the battered but triumphant fleet, she knew that the road ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, but for the first time since the conflict began, she allowed herself to feel a glimmer of hope for the future. Unlikely alliances. In the aftermath of the pivotal battle, the Terran Confederation and its allies took stock of their losses and celebrated their hard-fought victory. The Zorgan fleet had been dealt a severe blow, and their advance into Confederation space had been halted, at least for the moment. As the dust settled, an unexpected development emerged. A faction of Zorgans, led by a high-ranking officer named Zalcor, reached out to the Confederation seeking a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Admiral Weston, ever cautious, was initially skeptical of the Zorgans' motives. However, Captain Aria Hawkins, with her keen intuition and diplomatic acumen, sensed an opportunity to forge a lasting peace. If there's even a chance that we can end this war without further bloodshed, we owe it to ourselves and the galaxy to pursue it, Aria argued passionately during a council meeting. After much deliberation, Admiral Weston agreed to send Aria as an envoy to meet with Zalcor and his faction. The captain's experience with the Zorgans and her role in the recent battle made her uniquely qualified for the task. Aria, accompanied by a small delegation, ventured into Zorgan territory under a flag of truce. The meeting with Zalcor was tense, with both sides wary of the other's intentions. As the discussions unfolded, Aria began to understand the complex political landscape within Zorgan society. Zalcor and his followers opposed the war, believing that peaceful coexistence with other species was not only possible but necessary for the survival and prosperity of all. Our leaders have led us down a path of destruction and isolation, Zalcor confessed to Aria. They cling to the belief that the Zorgan way is the only way, and that all other species must submit or be eradicated. But we know that there is strength in diversity and cooperation. Aria saw an opportunity to build a bridge between the Confederation and the Zorgan faction. She proposed an alliance, one that would work together to end the war and promote a new era of interstellar cooperation. The negotiations were delicate, with trust being a scarce commodity on both sides. Aria's diplomatic skills were put to the test as she navigated the complex web of Zorgan politics and the concerns of her own people. Grew in strength and influence, and more Zorgans began to question the wisdom of the war. The Terran Confederation, in turn, recognized the value of having allies within the Zorgan ranks. The alliance faced challenges and opposition from both sides. Hardliners within the Zorgan leadership viewed Zalcor and his followers as traitors, while some members of the Confederation questioned the wisdom of trusting any Zorgan, given their history of aggression. Aria found herself at the center of the storm, working tirelessly to keep the fragile alliance together. She mediated disputes, negotiated compromises, and fought to keep the lines of communication open between the two sides. Despite the obstacles, the alliance between the Terran Confederation and Zalcor's faction grew stronger. They began to coordinate their efforts, sharing intelligence and resources in the fight against the Zorgan warmongers. As the war entered a new phase, Aria knew that the path ahead would be difficult, but she also saw the potential for a brighter future. The unlikely alliance had shown that even the most intractable of enemies could find common ground, and that hope could be found in the most unexpected of places. A new dawn. The final days of the war were marked by a series of intense battles as the Terran Confederation, its allies, and Zalcor's Zorgan faction fought to bring an end to the conflict. The alliance had grown in strength, but the Zorgan warmongers remained a formidable foe, desperate to cling to their power and crush any opposition. In a daring move, the Alliance launched a coordinated offensive against the Zorgan stronghold, the heart of their military and political power. The joint Terran-Zorgan forces, armed with a combination of human ingenuity and Zorgan technology, struck deep into enemy territory. Captain Aria Hawkins and her team were tasked with a critical mission, infiltrating the Zorgan command center and capturing their leaders. It was a high-risk operation, but one that could bring a decisive end to the war. As the battle raged around them, Aria and her team fought their way through the heavily fortified compound. They faced resistance at every turn, but their determination and skill proved to be more than a match for the enemy forces. In a final, desperate standoff, Aria confronted the Zorgan High Command. The once proud leaders, now cornered and defeated, realized that their reign of aggression and conquest had come to an end. With the capture of the Zorgan leaders, the war came to a swift conclusion. The remaining enemy forces, demoralized and leaderless, quickly surrendered or flowed into the depths of space. The Terran Confederation and its allies had emerged victorious, but the cost had been high. Many lives had been lost, and the scars of the conflict would linger for generations to come. In the aftermath of the war, a new era of peace and cooperation dawned. The Terran Confederation, bolstered by its alliances and the respect it had earned through its actions, took its place as a key player in the galactic community. Aria, hailed as a hero for her role in ending the war, found herself at the center of the rebuilding effort. She worked tirelessly to promote understanding and cooperation between the various species, drawing on the lessons learned from the unlikely alliance with Zalkor's faction. As the years passed, the galaxy began to heal. The Terran Confederation and its allies, including the reformed Zorgan nation led by Zalkor, worked together to explore new frontiers, share knowledge, and build a lasting peace. Aria often reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. The challenges they had faced, the sacrifices made, and the bonds forged in the crucible of war had all played a part in shaping the future. Looking out at the stars, Aria saw not just the vast expanse of space, but the limitless potential for growth, discovery, and understanding. Humanity had taken its first steps onto the galactic stage, and though the road ahead would undoubtedly be marked by new challenges, she knew that they would face them together, united in their determination to build a better tomorrow. The Terran Confederation, once a fledgling civilization on the fringes of the galaxy, had risen to become a beacon of hope and a force for positive change. And at the heart of it all, the indomitable spirit of humanity, with its ingenuity, resilience, and courage, would continue to shine brightly, a guiding light in the ever-expanding universe.